Shalom, shalom. This is new Yes from Israel on Hebrew on Island 2. Listen, today's video is called Gentile Destroyer. The Gentile Destroyer. It's ABC Israelite. Or people don't know. People still don't know. Listen, as I said with that last video I just made about the coronavirus, I said I was going to make another video. This is not planned. But one of my subscribers sent me a comment, of course. And, you know, it's not a new comment. It's nothing new. Heard it several times before. Made videos on it, too, on my other channel that got terminated. But apparently, question comes back up. It's not a salvation type security question or anything like that that affect your salvation or anything like that. But we as Israelites need to study and read. It says in Isaiah 34, seek ye out of the book of the Most High and read, and none of these things shall fail. So the thing is, you know, I tell my subscribers in videos and when they send me comments, be careful of switching teachers or, you know, let me combine a whole bunch of teaching philosophies together. No, no, no. That's how you're going to be easily led astray when you have YouTube channels that aesthetically look good and have all the good thumbnails and all that stuff like that and many subscribers. Your mind automatically goes into they must be right. And then if you're not seasoned in the scriptures, and scriptures only Genesis to Malachi, and you hear a couple truths, you really won't know how to identify falsehoods. So if you stick with the Torah and Tanakh-based Israelites that you already have a track record with, and you know basically what they're saying is correct, that's what you should stick with. Because as one of my subscribers, he's listening to this person, and I'm not going to mention names because I don't put any other Hebrews down. You know, I definitely do not advise anybody listening to that guy. I don't give out names if I use a little bit of a video or something. I don't give the names because I'm not in agreement with their total package. And I don't want to help to mislead anybody by them going, oh, this guy sounds good. Ooh, got a cool looking YouTube channel. Oh, let me start listening to him. And they'll say a few things right, and then go off in left field, and then you'll be in left field. So that's why I don't do that. But I told this guy before that that person is half and half, like that half and half milk you put in coffee, says some crazy things. Like, you know, Ishmael got the promises too, reads out of the Quran sometimes, quotes it, quote all day the New Testament. It's flip-flopping. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Sometimes both feet in, 1 foot out. It's crazy. That's why I tell you, don't do it. And, you know, they got things on their channels that, you know, like if somebody knows the scriptures, actually reading, you don't have to be a super genius in the scriptures, but if you got a great foundation, that's why I always tell you guys to study the law. Joshua 1:1-6, it says, be strong and of good courage. Meditate on the Most High's law day and night. Don't turn to the left or the right. Then you'll prosper and have good success in a lot of areas. But the problem, you won't because you don't study a lot. You're just listening and eating popcorn, being entertained. Because you know a lot of you guys, you just want to be entertained. Well, you're not going to be entertained here. There's not going to be no cool graphics or anything. It's straight basics. And that's what you need, basics and fundamentals. And I always preface that because I like to box. And if you have good fundamentals, you'll be a good boxer. Knowing one fancy trick and stuff like that, that ain't going to help you. You need the fundamentals. So you need the fundamentals, the ABCs of Hebrew 101. That's the law. First 5 books. Remember, there wouldn't even be the prophet section of the Tanakh, which is called the Nevi'im, or the Ketuvim, which are the writing section of the Tanakh, if everybody just kept the law. So the destroyer of the Gentiles, the Gentile destroyer. Let's get into this. And listen, like I said, this is older things to me. And I'm using my video that I used on my old channel that was terminated. But the thing is, I used the King James Version back then, and I'm going to show you, reading it out of Tanakh, there's a word here, there, change some things a little bit. Got the same, it has the main feeling and essence, but they changed one word here. It's not the destroyer of the Gentiles. You're going to see it's the destroyer of the nations. But the context is still the same. So let's begin. Come with me to Jeremiah 4:7. This is the verse in question. I'm going to read it from the King James Version first. Here we read from the Tanakh, which is the Old Testament scriptures in Hebrew, well, translated into English. But that's what we use. We don't use that King James Version. We'll reference it if we have to, but anyway, in the King James Version, what this subscriber sent me, Jeremiah 4:7. The lion has come up from his thicket, and the destroyer of the Gentiles is on his way. He has gone forth from his place to make thy hand desolate, and the cities shall be laid waste without an inhabitant. Now let's read Jeremiah 4:7 in the Tanakh. And this is how it reads. The lion has come up from his thicket. The destroyer of nations have set out. He has departed from his place to make your land a desolation. Your cities shall be ruined without inhabitants. See the difference? We use the Tanakh here, but I'm just showing you the difference, okay? Now listen, this verse has been used by many Israelites, including myself in the past. When you fast walk topics, as that commenter, that the subscriber did, and how I used to do in the past, this is why you must diligently apply yourself to prove all things and to study to show yourself approved. From the outset of Jeremiah chapter 1. Now remember, the verse in question was the Jeremiah chapter 4. But the problem with a lot of Hebrews is, well, let's apple pick it right here and there. No. You only can apple pick it if you got a great foundation and you know the whole text. But if you don't know the whole text, you got to read more. And a lot of people are lazy, so you're not going to do it. And you're going to be confused like the heathen Gentiles. So from the outset of Jeremiah chapter 1, it tells you that the Most High is angry with Israel for their wickedness. It's not in Jeremiah, it's not talking about from 1 to 4, it's not talking about the Most High is angry with the heathen Gentiles. We already know he's angry with the heathen Gentiles, but Jeremiah is not talking about that. So the question was in Jeremiah chapter 4, but I didn't start there. I'm starting with you with Jeremiah 1. See, you know what? That involves work, and a lot of people don't want to work. They don't want to go up and above and beyond. They don't want to do it. That's why you're not going to reach proficiency in the scriptures. You're not going to reach it because you don't want to roll your sleeves up and put your work in. We're going to start in Jeremiah chapter 1. We're going to read verse 14, 15, and 16. I'm not going to read it. I'm not going to read it from the King James Version. I'm reading it from the Tanakh. And you're going to see that the subject matter, the topic, the pronouns, everything is geared towards the Israelites being wicked and the Most High sending decrees to destroy them. It says nothing about the Most High sending something to destroy the heathens. Their fate is already decreed. Jeremiah is talking about you. When you're sitting in class and you raise your hand and say, teacher, but Joey over there didn't do it. What does the teacher say? Mind your business. Worry what's going on with you. So Jeremiah is telling this subscriber that commented to me, no, don't worry about them other heathens. Worry about you. That's what Jeremiah is saying. Worry about how mad the Most High is with you and your whoredom, with your waywardness, with your stiff-neckedness, with your revolting and rebellious heart and spirit. Israel. That's what Jeremiah chapter 1 to chapter 4 is talking about, and even more. So we're going to go with Jeremiah chapter 1. Remember the question that he raised was the Gentile destroyer, which in the Tanakh it says the destroyer of the nations. Okay, so we're in Jeremiah chapter 1. We're going to read verse 14, 15, and 16. I'll start at verse 13. And the word of the Most High came to me a second time. What do you see? I replied, I see a steaming pot tipping away from the north. And the Lord said to me, from the north shall disaster break loose upon all the inhabitants of the land. What land are they talking about? They're talking about the land of Israel. For I am summoning all the peoples of the kingdoms of the north, declared the Most High. They shall come and shall each set up a throne before the gates of Jerusalem. They're coming against the Israelites, not against heathens. They shall come and shall each set up a throne before the gates of Jerusalem, against its walls round about, and against all the towns of Judah. It's not talking about heathens. People say, oh, they destroy the Gentiles. The Most High is going to make something to destroy all the Gentiles. No, he has decreed for the Gentiles to be destroyed in totality and to be slaves. Jeremiah is not saying the Most High anything about the Israelites in Jeremiah. No, he's not saying nothing about the heathens in Jeremiah chapter 4. He's talking about you crazy Hebrews that don't want to listen. We're reading from Jeremiah chapter 1. You guys don't like to put work in to get the full depth of the meaning. Get full comprehension. Read more. Verse 16 of Jeremiah chapter 1. And I will and I will argue my case against them. Who's the them? It's the Israelites, the wayward Israelites. For all their wickedness, they have forsaken me and sacrificed to other gods. Who sacrificed to other gods? The Israelites. Come on, this is ABC, Hebrew 101, and worship the works of their hands. So we already know, before you get to Jeremiah 4, there's Jeremiah chapter 1, and it's laying out, it's painting the picture of what Jeremiah is getting ready to talk about in Jeremiah chapter 4. Okay? So when you get to chapter 4 of Jeremiah, how is it switching so quick to something coming to destroy Gentiles? All you have to do is slow walk, and you will quickly see the famous. It's not the destroyer of the Gentiles, the destroyer of the nations is not something going to attack and destroy Gentiles. The destroyer of the Gentiles in the King James, but in the Tanakh, the destroyer of nations is a force coming from the Gentiles to destroy Israel and all its inhabitants. It's a manifestation of evil that the Most High is going to bring upon the stiff-necked Israelites to befall them for their abominations and wickedness against the Most High. Elohim sent the Gentiles, using them as a vessel of destruction. Now call me to Jeremiah chapter 4, verses 4, 5, and 6. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to read it in the Tanakh. I'm going to read it in the King James. Jeremiah chapter 4, verses 4, 5, and 6 in the Tanakh. Open your heart to the Lord. Remove the thickening about your hearts, O men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my wrath break forth like fire and burn with none to quench it. Because of your wicked acts, proclaimed in Judah, announced in Jerusalem, and say, blow the horn in the land, shout aloud and say, assemble and let us go into the fortified cities. Set up a signpost to Zion, take refuge, do not delay, for I bring evil from the north and great disaster. And then you read that famous line. It says like this in the King James, verse 7, the lion has come up from his thicket. The destroyer of, it says in the King James, the Gentile destroyer. But in the Tanakh, because we read the Tanakh at Hebrew on the island too, The lion has come up from the thicket. The destroyer of nations has set out, has departed from his place to make your land, whose land? The Israelites' land, a desolation. Your city shall be ruined without inhabitants. It's talking about Israelites, wicked, abominable Israelites, always trying to not listen. Come with me to Jeremiah 19. Jeremiah 19 in the Tanakh. Jeremiah 19, verse 15. See what it says. I'm reading 14, 15. When Jeremiah returned from Topheth, where the Lord had sent him to prophesy, he stood in the court of the house of the Lord and said to all the people, thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, I am going to bring upon this city and upon all its villages all the disaster which I have decreed against it, for they have stiffed their necks and refused to heed my words. Jeremiah, at the end of Jeremiah chapter 19, is telling you again who that destroyer of the Gentiles are in Jeremiah chapter 4. So when you read in full completion, you know what it's talking about. I'm not going to say any more about it. If you still don't understand, I understand why you don't understand. All you have to do is watch the video again, stop it where I quote the verses, read it for yourself, but I advise you, read from verse to chapter 1. Don't read just chapter 4, but you can just read the whole chapter 4 and get it. But if you guys can't even get it, we're just reading the whole chapter 4, not just one verse. Read from beginning of Jeremiah, the first chapter, read the second chapter, the third chapter. When you get to the fourth chapter, you should understand the scenario, what's going on. The Most High is mad with stiff-necked, rebellious Israelites. They're the same yesterday. They're the same today. You're stiff-necked, rebellious, lazy, always wanting to, low self-esteem, always wanting to be like your enemy, following the customs of your enemy, seeking their fake no gods, making the Most High very angry with you. Won't you be his friend, Israel? This is a new Yeshurun Israel. He on the island too. Until next time. Next time. Where is this cursor?